did find this one and I love it. I think once I took it home, I was like, wait, is this the same? Are these the same colors as the like team, the soccer team from Medellin? And I'm like, whatever. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Vale. I make sewing videos and videos about living in Bogota. But today I am here to make excuses a little bit because I have a fabric haul to share with you all. And I did say recently that I wasn't going to buy any new fabric until I went through my stash. But the thing is, once you get toward the bottom of your stash, it kind of becomes a battle of like, what am I going to make next? Like, I feel like I was losing my sojo because I couldn't really figure out what I wanted to make with this stuff that was left at the bottom of my sewing stash. So I actually went ahead and bought some fabric and I am feeling inspired again. So I want to share my sewing plans with you all and also my timeline because I have kind of a marathon couple of weeks of sewing coming up. I have a few events that I'm going to tell you about that, you know, I'm excited to sew for. And that just means I'm going to be, you know, hitting that machine hard starting actually tomorrow. So let's get started and I'll share sort of everything that I have planned. Okay, so we are going to start from most urgent to least urgent because, again, I have a lot of plans. I'm being very ambitious with what I want to do. And so there's just really no way that I mean, I don't know. I think I'm not going to be able to get to all of it, but I'm also like kind of optimistic. Like, you know, I have a couple of weekends, I have 2.5 weeks, and I did take off 2 days of work before my trip starts. So, you know, I might be able to cram some stuff in then as well. But basically, my birthday is coming up, and so we're going to go on a trip for my birthday. We're going to go on the coast. We're going to go Cartagena, Santa Marta, Barranquilla, so it's going to be really hot. But then I also have a work trip after that. So there's like no time in between my birthday and the work trip. I'm not sewing that much for my birthday trip. I have a lot of stuff that I just recently made for Cartagena that I'm going to rewear. But it does kind of mean that I have to get the work sewing done before I go on that trip, basically. So the most urgent items on this list, in my opinion, right, are the work attire, like the work attire that I'm gonna, you know, make. Now, I want to just remind us all that you don't have to make things for trips. I personally am choosing to make some things instead of shopping because that's kind of like what was gonna happen. Like if I didn't make things myself, I was gonna go shopping, and to me that just kind of felt worse in some way, even though there's nothing wrong with shopping as long as you're kind of doing it ethically. But anyways, I was just like, I think I'll feel better if I just kind of sew. So anyways, for my work event, there's a little bit of like a gala. It's not super formal. The attire is formal, but just based on last year, you know, there's sort of a variation of how formal people go. I have one formal dress that I love that I get like so many compliments on, and I'll kind of show you the pictures because I've worn this dress to death. I got this dress in 2017 from ASOS, so it's definitely fast fashion, and yet I've worn it nonstop. I can't wear it to this event though because I wore it last year. I mean, it's not that I can definitely repeat that outfit. It's not that big a deal. I doubt anybody would even remember, but still, like, I feel like I've already worn it. So I'm going to give sewing my own formal dress a shot. If it doesn't work out, then I'm just going to wear the dress again. So that's kind of what it is. But if you see the pictures of that dress, you can tell it's like off the shoulders. You can tell I love a little off the shoulder moment. So that's really the inspo. Now, the hard part was that I couldn't find a fabric that I liked that was like the same sort of material as that fabric. That fabric I think is like a rayon acrylic. I don't know. It's definitely plastic, but I couldn't find anything that I really liked. And I also like don't love buying things that have a ton of plastic in it. Obviously, sometimes you have no choice, but I also couldn't find anything that I liked. So I'm going to kind of improvise. I am going to self-draft this. I've been kind of practicing with a bodice block, so I'm feeling pretty confident. I've also been practicing like an off-the-shoulder moment. I have videos on both of those things. So I'm feeling like ready to take this on because I've Mr. Miyagi'd it a little bit. However, the material of the fabric might dictate how this kind of turns out. So I have 2 options, and basically I'm going to give the first one a shot, like fully, and if that one works out, then I'm done and I can move on to the next project. If that one doesn't work out, then I have to give it a shot with a different fabric. So I'm going to walk you through sort of both options. Okay, so the first option is this organza that I found recently. I have 3 meters of this. And I just think it's so beautiful. Like, I'll show you videos of all of the fabric separately as I talk, so you can kind of see it in the light a little bit better. But I just love this so much. It looks sort of like cherry blossoms, and I went to school in DC, so I don't know, it's just kind of like, oh, and also the Gala is in DC, so I don't know. It's just kind of giving like that cherry blossom DC feel. And I never find organza here. Like, I've looked for it in Bogota several times. I looked for it when I lived in Medellin. It's just like not an easy fabric to find. So when I saw this, I was just like, okay, great. We got to do something with this. Now, I do know that this is more structured as a fabric, so I think it's going to end up looking kind of cool, like in a tiered sort of fashion. I would still want to try out the off the shoulder look. I'm a little worried that it's a little too stiff for off the shoulder. I have kind of a plan B, we'll see, but I do really want to give it like an off the shoulder moment, so we're going to see if that is possible. Now, I don't know how much of this fabric I'm going to need for like the bodice part. I'm still not super clear on that. So there's also an option in which I make this a mini dress, and I can make it like a little tiered, and because it's got structured, I think like it would look really cool. I know Kika Vargas does like a lot of different organza dresses that are, you know, short, and she styles a lot of her models with tights, which I think is so cute. So if I do end up making this and it works out, the bodice looks good, but I just like, I'm a little tight on the skirt, I'll just kind of make it mini, wear it with tights, and I might even make some like long gloves. Like, I don't know, but that's an option that I might take, as long as, of course, the bodice looks good. Now, I'm not going to just jump into this fabric because I'm also not a crazy person. So I do have this fabric from my stash. This is like a blue cotton. It's got a little more structure. It's not organza. Again, I don't have other organza, but it's got a little more body. See, like it's standing on its own here. And so I think that this would be a good sample for this sort of like off the shoulder, more structured dress. And so I'm going to make this one for my birthday. So I'm not going to like let it go to waste. This is going to be a working toile or a working sample. So I'm going to make this one off the shoulders, etc. for my birthday. It's blue. Birthday's in August. It just feels like it goes. And if it works out, like if this one is a winner, then I'm going to cut into organza and then we're done. That gala dress is done. My birthday dress is done. Boom. However, there is a world in which that doesn't work out, right? Like there's a world in which we sort of realize that this is too stiff for off the shoulder and the organza is definitely not going to work, in which case I'm going to have to go with plan B. Plan B is a silkier version of the dress, a more flowy version of the dress, which is, I think, maybe a little more similar to the original, but the original is not silk or satin. That's important. I don't know why, but it is important to me. It's not the same material. So that's why I'm not choosing this as my first option, but it is a good second option. So I found this nice little like satin. Hold on, this might be the wrong side because this is not the shiniest side. But again, I'll show you videos of like what it looks like in the light. It's just black. It's kind of hard to show on camera. Black is always kind of hard to catch, but it is just like a very elegant sort of like black satin, which is a safe choice, right? Like I could just make the same off the shoulder moment in black and it would be safe. So that's kind of why I got this, because it's a good sort of option in case I need it as in an emergency, like the first look doesn't work out. But also, if I don't end up using it because the first option works out, this is a really good fabric to have for things like lining, but also I can make a dress out of this like really easily. So I could make like a very simple dress to layer. And so this is always fabric that I feel like I'm going to use. I'm also not going to jump right into that though if the first dress doesn't work out. Like I still want to make a sample because again, this is like an important event and I don't want to like mess it up. So I did find this other satin, which was less expensive. I've had this one in my stash. Actually, no, I just got this one. And it is a nice satin. The color is like a little too similar to like the one I wore last year, but still like just like a little flatter than I want it to be. So that's why I thought it would be like a good toile fabric. But again, if I don't end up using it, this could just be like a little, like I don't know, like a sleeveless Eleonora dress, just something really simple, flowy that I can layer up and down. So that was like a good, I think, practice fabric. I've never sewn with anything like this, like satin or like silk or anything, so that's just something that I'm also keeping in mind of like, I've never sewn with this and I've heard that it's a little finicky. I've heard it's a little, you know, slippery. So that is the most, let's call it urgent outfit that I have to make. And I think that I'm going to be able to make this in a week. So that's going to be the next project that I work on. I'm going to start making the 12 for the first option tomorrow. And hopefully it works out and I'm done with this dress within like the next week. So that's hopefully the plan. But, you know, if I do end up having to go a different route, then I'll probably end up spending like another week on the second type of dress, or the second option of dress. All right, let's go on to the next project. Okay, the following fabrics and the following projects are sort of like nice to have, but it will be very dependent on how long it takes me to make that like first little gala dress. So, but the good thing about this is like even in the sample, I'm kind of getting my birthday dress out of it, so it's like kind of double dipping there. And there is again a chance that I just go the first route, it works out, and then I can move right into these projects and leave this like satin silky ones for like another project later. So again, if all things go according to plan, my idea is to use this really nice blue fabric to make a long sleeve dress for work, just so it's feeling like a little more formal, but also like, you know, I could line it, it's still feeling summery. You know, it's during the day for this work event, it's not going to be super formal, it's just kind of like the night event. So I'm liking this sort of fabric. I think I'm going to do a long sleeve Eleonora dress, which I know I've mentioned in my inspo videos in the past. It's just like a beautiful pattern. I've made it before. It is a little time consuming, but the results are always very impressive. And it kind of mimics the like doe-in long sleeve dress that looks, you know, really pricey, expensive. I had another fabric in the past that I wanted to use for that kind of dress, but I used it for something else. So I didn't have fabric to make that long sleeve Eleanor. So that's kind of what I'm going to try to do with this one. And that would be like next up in the queue, because I think that that would be a really nice, easy dress for work. And I wouldn't have to wear like a blazer and all that. Like it would just look kind of nice and elegant on its own, which I like, because in September it's still kind of hot. So anyways, next up, I found this sort of butter yellow fabric, which is so beautiful. It's a little pale. I don't know if it makes me look a little pale. I'm thinking that the styling is going to be important here. But this is a really like sort of like trendy color right now. But I'm excited to make something. So I don't want to wait too long to make it, because I do kind of recognize that this is kind of a trendier color. And so like we kind of want to make something with it soon. Although it is a beautiful cotton. So know that I'll use this for a while, and you know, in the off chance that I don't like the color later, it is light enough that I can dye it a different color, and it's a pure cotton, so it's just like a really fresh like fabric. I'm happy with the fabric no matter what. And I think that what I'm gonna make with this one is an Amabel skirt, which is a new pattern that I found on Instagram. I was actually stalking the pattern designer for this one for a while, because she teased sort of testing it, and I was like, I need to make that skirt. And I'd already had this fabric sitting around, so I was like, I know exactly what fabric I'm gonna make. But I do think that that might be a little more time consuming, and I've never made it, so that's why I put the Eleonora dress first. But then if I have time, I want to make this one. So I want to make the skirt. Now I would also like to make a top, again, depending on time, because the tops that I've seen that go really well with this Amabel style skirt, which is like I think it's called like a Basquiat, I don't know what it's called, but it's like that kind of drop waist type of skirt. I've seen them look really good with like shirred tops, because this is a style that like Sandy Liang uses a lot, and when she styles them or she makes like tops for them, they're usually like shirred tops that go kind of up to the collar. But I'm not very good at shirring. I mean, I've only tried it once, and it was kind of a really big failure, and then I never tried it again. But that was a long time ago. That was like almost when I first started sewing. So I'm hoping that like now, because I have more skill, I could sort of self-draft something like that and make it work, and it wouldn't be too difficult. But again, I don't really know. There are a couple of other style of shirts that I could consider here. I could also just wear this with like a white top that I already have, and then make a bandeau instead, so that way I could wear it more like in the beach when I go to my summer trip. So that's also an option. So basically I haven't decided on the top for this yet, but I do know the skirt that I'm going to make with it, and then I'll kind of decide like how much time I have and also how much fabric I have left, because I've never made this before, so we'll see. And finally, in the we'll see if I get to it pile, is this little checkered moment. It's just very simple. This is not for work. This is for just my overall trip. I am going to go to, so when I go to my work trip, in between, because I have to go to 2 separate work trips basically, in between that I have a weekend in the US. So I'm going to go to New York, and when I'm there it's going to start to be kind of fall, but it's still kind of summery. So I want to make like a mini dress. Like I definitely want it to be like a leggy moment, but I'm thinking that I also want it to be long sleeve, just to do something a little bit different. And I was thinking of using the Dolly pattern by Small Museum. Yeah, Small Museum. I already have the pattern. I've made it before. Super nice, easy, breezy sew. And I did recently see the creator of Small Museum make a long sleeve version, or I don't know if I just ran into it recently, but it's been around for a while because I think I might have found it through Pinterest. But it just is almost kind of in the same kind of fabric. It's in a green sort of version. I'll show you a picture, but it looks really cute, and like it's very leggy, which I like, with a pair of boots. You know, it's very flowy. So I'm thinking that I will make that, which is maybe more of a reason to just kind of make a little bandeau top for the previous skirt, so that like I can get to this. But we'll see. Now I did sew the Dolly dress in like a day, so if I have like a day left at the end before I go on my trip, I'm gonna knock this one out. But if I don't, I'll make it when I come back, because this is also a really cute one to have in Bogota, especially the long sleeve one. I could put tights on it, like it'd be cute. So that's really nice. All right, so that kind of wraps up the if I get to it before I go on my trip sewing. I have a couple of other things to share with you just because I'm excited about them, but I definitely get to this until I come back from my trip. So this is more of like a September sewing, but I'm still really excited about this fabric because it's kind of part of my haul. So I'll share that with you, and then that will really wrap up our video. Okay, so in the definitely won't happen until September pile, I have 2 coats. I've never made a coat before, so I'm a little nervous, but I actually think that the order in which I've chosen and like the decisions I'm making here are smart. Let me tell you why. So I found this fabric recently, which is kind of like a striped kind of fabric. It's so cute. This is like, for me, giving very Bogota, because it's just kind of like more of a darker color, a little more fall, and I think it would look really cute as a roux coat. So I think that it's spaghetti western sewing. It's a spaghetti western sewing roux coat, and I'll show you some examples of what that looks like, because there's so many different varied kinds, but it is a quilted coat. So I've seen a lot of people who actually make quilts and like have done some beautiful work here. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to take that route that a lot of other people have taken, which is just to use this and quilt it. So quilt this actual fabric and use like a different color in underneath, which I would probably pick from my stash. I have a lot of different stash fabric I can pull here. But the idea is that I would quilt that fabric and then use that fabric for the coat. So I just love this color, and I think it would look so cute in that kind of coat. And then I do have enough fabric here to make a skirt. So I'm going to make the Jessie Lou skirt. I don't know what the name of the skirt is. It might be like Sunrise skirt. I don't know. I have the pattern. I've never made it, but it just has like phenomenal reviews online. And I think that that would look really cute because it's a little skirt moment. It's very flattering. I've seen so many pictures of this. It is so cute. And that with the coat, with some tights, oh my gosh, that would be so cute. So that's kind of like my vision in my mind. There's a festival I'm going to in September here in Bogota, Cordilleras, which is, it's kind of cold out, etc., but you know, it's hot during the day, etc., so we really want to layer. And I think it would be so cute for that festival because I could take the little coat off, I could put it back on, I could put a raincoat on top, and if it rains, I prefer to be wearing tights because when you wear jeans, it just gets sloppy and muddy, etc. So I'm really thinking that that is going to be just delicious and wonderful and great. So that is the inspiration for this fabric. I have another coat. Now this is the big one, and because this is so special to me, I went ahead and bought an actual physical pattern which I rarely ever do because I mostly only use indie sewing patterns because, you know, I live here in Colombia, and so it's kind of hard to get these when I'm in the States. When I was in the States, when Joann's was open, I would go with my mom and we would like pick out patterns together. So I have a few that are like dresses and tops and things like that. I don't have any other coat ones, but also now Joann's is closed. So I did get this on Etsy. So I'll put the like Etsy link and all the links to all the things I'm talking about in the description. But it is this sort of NewLook 6585, and it has the A version here, which is the hood version. So this is like the hood version of the coat, which I love because I love a hood, and I don't know, I'm a very big fan of this style of blanket coat. I have, you know, seen a lot of blanket coats online. There are a lot of blanket coat patterns online. It was very difficult to choose one, but I did see really good reviews on this specific pattern, I think on Reddit. So I was just like, let me just get it. It was $5. It was worth it. And yeah, so now what I'm gonna use it with is this blanket. Look at this thing. Isn't it so pretty? It's like wool. It's a wool cotton blend. I got it when I was in Ráquira recently, which is a little town outside of Villa Eleva. Villa Eleva being a town outside of Bogota. So it's just like towns within towns, but it's known as sort of an artisan town. And it is one of the few places in Colombia that I've been able to find blankets, because I think that the market is more for like ponchos and stuff. So it's been kind of hard to find, again, blankets. But I did find this one and I love it. I think once I took it home, I was like, wait, is this the same? Are these the same colors as the like team, the soccer team from Medellin? And I'm like, whatever. But regardless, I love it. So I'm gonna make this coat in this beautiful blanket, which I'm so excited about because it's so warm. It's wool, and you know, Bogota's very cold, but every time I get under a wool blanket, it's like immediately I'm warm. So yeah, I'm excited but nervous about this because it is thick. My machine is not, let's say, the most advanced machine. I did get like a little foot jumper, which is like hopefully something that will help. And again, I have my physical pattern, so I'm feeling good about it, but I'm also gonna make a video about it. I'll let you know how it goes. And yeah, that's really what I have planned, and that's my fabric stash haul. I hope that you all kind of enjoyed that, and I will again link all of the patterns and all of that good stuff in the description. So let me know if you have made any of these patterns, if you have any advice, or if you have any opinions on what I should do with that first gala dress, if I should decide on one option versus the other. Yeah, let me know. If you made it this far, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next video.